and slain heroes. These people who have been shot in cold blood, in cold July, are heroes and patriots. All they were asking for is to get a fair, just, and caring nation where their complaints are taken seriously as an attempt to create a more perfect nation. At this moment, we thank all those Kenyans who have extended any kind of help to the families and victims. People need a lot of help because of the magnitude of injuries and deaths. We encourage more people to come out and help in whichever way little they can. We appeal to Kenyans of goodwill not to tire of doing good. We extend our deep appreciation to our medical personnel, all caregivers, and first responders like the Kenya Red Cross for going all out to ensure the injured got treatment and the dead got preserved with dignity. We know it was a wish of Interior CS that the injured don't get help and the dead don't get acknowledged by hospitals and government agencies. That order remains in place as we speak, which is why getting an accurate and complete figure of the dead is difficult. But we will get there. We are working meticulously, day and night, and I thank you, Pio and I and your team, even for the presentation. The world now knows what has actually happened in our country in the last few days, and I think we want to thank Opio and that team. We also thank our members of parliament and county assembly members for their continued support for and solidarity with our people, particularly in rural areas. As we speak, there are many Kenyans who are some in police custody, and I know that some of our learned colleagues have gone out there. Dunstan Omari stands out because he stood with our teams in Degwa, Jiro. We want to thank you. And because some of you actually been doing it pro bono to get these young men out. Young council called Kala in Machakos got all the 43 out as of yesterday. So we really appreciate all this. And in fact, some of you are even paying because these young men can hardly pay the bail cash, 10,000, 5,000, some cannot even afford. And you members of parliament and county assembly have been able to do this cause justice. Our governors who have extended help, we recognize you and also thank you. We recognize the efforts you are making at the grassroots in rural areas where people need help most. Above all, we encourage everyone not to tire of doing good. We further take this opportunity to thank all those who have come out to honor and show love for our slain and injured heroes with candles and flowers. Indeed, they're also heroines. So a young lady who was coming from the Dagoretti corner there got shot for no reason, even in our private parts. Please don't tire. You've been able to give out candles out there as of midnight last night and flowers. Let's all not get tired. The vigils, the prayers, and the laying of flowers continues tomorrow and throughout the weekend. We appeal to all our houses of worship to dedicate prayers to these heroes and innocent souls and for our country. In fact, I remember some of them issuing that call to prayer, which could have been last weekend. But we say, please continue and mourn with us. Let's pray for God to soften the hearts of the pharaohs. Michi Boko, you mentioned that very well. The pharaohs in government who would rather harm and kill our people instead of letting them go in the spirit of justice and freedom 6 years after independence. As part of our love and honor for the slain and injured heroes of this struggle, we will hold interdenominational prayers on Friday, the 26th July 2023. That's a day after tomorrow, here in Nairobi, and they should also be replicated in the counties across the country. We will bless the souls of the injured and the dead. We will pray for the pharaohs in government to listen to the cries of our people about the high taxes and the rising cost of living. We will pray for our police to know that the people they brutalize, maim, and kill are indeed their brothers, their sisters, and fellow citizens. What became of the new title, National Police Service? It is now the opposite. It is a terrorizing force. We will continue praying for and pleading with the international community and all its institutions, especially those in the field of justice, democracy, and human rights, to stand with Kenyans against a regime gone rogue. During the prayers, we will call on the international community to call Kenya security agencies to order. Indeed, some of them have called them out, like the International Human Rights Commission in Geneva. Call them out. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. The international community must never lose sight of this fact. And either we are going as Africa to accept that it is the turn of Africa to rise and therefore be serious about the conduct of democracy, or we accept that as the law of the jungle, literally the law of the jungle applies, and making nonsense of any pretense at democracy and democratic governance. On Friday, we shall also announce the next steps forward with our anti-tax protest. Let's make no mistake. Kenyans are still hurting, and we shall not relent until this regime acknowledges this grim reality of suffering and agrees to repeal the infamous Finance Act. We call on Kenyans not to surrender. We must not, and we will not give up. Let us take comfort in the fact that the world has seen worse and more brutal regimes before. No regime can be so brutal as to outlive its people. We shall overcome. Justice shall be done. Not our will, God, but God's will. And this struggle continues, aluta continua. I thank you. In fact, looking at some of the names, a young boy of 13 years old. I mean, what has happened to a sense of morality? The majority of those killed and injured are young people. And yet, we have people in office pretending they want to help our youth get employment, our youth get to be able, because Lovik Ayondi, a minor, 13 years, Kibera Mashimoni, was shot on the right leg, a 13-year-old. We've seen them today. Like we say, my brother Raila was not in a hurry. He wanted to see each one of them. We couldn't, because we also felt that this is an important matter. And I think the world now knows what is happening in our wonderful nation. The choice is, do we allow it to deteriorate, or do we, as Shakespeare said in one of Shakespearean tragedies, Hamlet, or do we take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing, end them? Of course, Hamlet was trying to commit suicide. We can't afford to commit suicide in our nation. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for those remarks. As we unveil now officially the wall of the patriots who paid in one way or another, either with their lives or nursing injuries, allow me to invite DAP Party Leader, Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, to lead us in a popular sung by Horatio Spafford and Philip Bliss, It Is Well, as the technical team lays on stage. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I was never very good at choir. Maybe the parliamentary choir could have helped us with this, Bwana Kosin. But as the technical team is setting up, the song will be projected on the screens so that we sing together, we fellowship together as we mourn with the bereaved families. My condolences to all those who have lost their dear ones. And our prayers today go to those hospitals. There was a young man called Edward Wanjala. Edward Wanjala was 27 years old. He had gone looking for a job somewhere in Athi River. He was in Mlolongo on that fateful day. And they were fleeing from the police. And Edward, just like the other over 30 victims, was shot at the back of his head. The bullet entered at the back and it exited in the front, blowing his face. And many of the 30 victims were killed in a similar way. They were fleeing from the police. They were not posing any danger to the police. For the armed officers to be justified according to our laws to use their firearms against unarmed, peaceful demonstrators. They were not in any danger. We have had a statement issued by the PS Interior saying that police officers were attacked and one officer lost his life. It tells you who had the guns and the bullets. We are mourning over 30 shot by the police, gunshot wounds, each one of them. But they are saying there's one officer who lost their life against this over 30. We want to say poleni kwa wale wote wamepoteza wapendwa wenu. And as the team is setting up, we want to assure you by this Friday, we will be having an interdenominational service. We will continue with the morning and the prayers through the weekend. We will be going to different parts of Kenya to mourn with you. That is what we will be doing. Now, I do not see Thank you. So as they're setting up, we will start the laying of flowers, and we will be led in this session by our leader, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. He will be the first one on behalf of Azimio and all Kenyans to lay a flower in memory of our dear departed. And he will also lead the nation in lighting the candle. And we want to ask all Kenyans across our country to light up a candle today and to say a prayer for the dear departed. As our leader is doing this, we are happy that across the country I've seen in Kisii already people have started lighting candles. Please, in your own special way, as the Right Honorable Raila Odinga is doing, do so in memory of our dear departed. And after our leader, we'll ask the Honorable Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka to come and also, thank you very much. Our leader lays the flowers in memory of the dear departed. His Excellency Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka will follow to do the same, to lay the flower and observe a minute of silence. And he'll thereafter also light a candle in memory of the dear departed. After His Excellency Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, I will ask my other co-principals, the Honorable Governor Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, the first Governor of Kakamega, and the Deputy Party Leader ODM, to come and also lay his flower and light a candle in memory of the dear departed. After Governor Oparanya, we'll have Governor Mwangi wa Iria, who will follow to honor our heroes and heroines whose lives were cut short by the brutal force of the police. The Honorable Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya has lit the candle in memory of our dear departed. Governor Wairia, the first governor of Murang'a County and the party leader of Usawa Party. My co-principal will now do the same. After Governor Wairia, we'll have the SG of Jubilee, the Honorable Jeremiah Kioni, to come and do the same. And I think on behalf of the parliamentarians, I'll ask the minority leader, the Honorable Opio Wandai, to come and do the same, and also the leader of the Senate. We have the leaders of both houses of parliament representing their colleagues in the National Assembly as well as in the Senate. In honor of our dear departed, they will
Okay, could we kindly? Protocol team, just give the flowers quickly. Yes, just give the flowers quickly. Thank you, Mheshimiwa Tiende. Thank you, Mheshimiwa Mwenje. Thank you, Wakili. Thank you, Mheshimiwa Enoch Wambua. Thank you, Dr. Odinga. Thank you, Mheshimiwa Mbui. Thank you, Mheshimiwa Anthony Oluoch. Thank you, Mheshimiwa Muliongi. Thank you, Mheshimiwa Posing. Could I have the back? Asante sana. Asante. Tujikaze kidogo. Camera, kindly. Thank you. Your Excellencies, allow me to invite Honorable Stewart Masayo for a vote of thanks, after which he will request for the official minute of silence, and then I'll come back to wrap up. Welcome, Mheshimiwa.
Asante. Wakenya wenzangu, kwanza nataka niwapatie shukrani sana kwa kuja ili kuweza kuwa na sisi katika hii taasisi yetu tulionayo. Kitu cha pili ni kwamba nataka kuwashukuru wale wote ambao wametoka mbali, Wakenya wote wametoka mbali. Nataka kuwashukuru vinara wetu. Pia vile vile nataka kuwashukuru waheshimiwa wenzangu bunge la kitaifa na maseneta. Nataka kuwashukuru ma MCA wote walioko hapa. Nataka kuwashukuru vile vile kina mama ambao tumeona juhudi zao wakiwa hapa. Najua uchungu wa mwana, tunasema ya kwamba anayojua ni mama. Na tumeona leo hisani ya mama kwa uchungu aliokuwa anasikia. Poleni sana kina mama mlioko hapa, poleni sana kina mama mlioko manyumbani huko. Tunajua yote haya yalifanywa na nguvu za shetani. hatungepoteza Wakenya, kwa sababu tulikuwa tunafanya yalikuwa ni haki kulingana na katiba ya maandamano. Tunamwachia Mungu wote waliokwenda mbele za haki, na sisi tuliobaki tutaendelea katika safari hii. Viongozi wetu, nataka kuhakikishia kwamba tuko pamoja na nyinyi, hatutawaacha katika safari hii, tutaenda pamoja. Jambo la kuhuzunisha kwa Wakenya hivi leo, lakini letu tu ni kuregesha imani kwa Mwenyezi Mungu na kusema ya kwamba tutafaulu katika safari hii. Nataka kwa sababu ya wakati, nataka niwaombe nyote mlioko, tusimame kwa heshima ya wale wote ambao waliweza kupoteza maisha yao kwa dakika moja. Tunaweza kukaa. Asanteni sana, Mwenyezi Mungu atubariki.
Asante Mheshimiwa. Chambilecho wahenga, kilicho na mwanzo hakikosi mwisho. Basi hapa tumefikia tamati ya hafla yetu ya siku ya leo. Niombe kwa heshima na taadhima zote tusimame wima kwa wimbo wa taifa utakaoashiria mwisho wa hafla yetu ya siku ya leo. Kofia zisizo rasmi zisalie kuvuliwa. Wimbo wa taifa. Asante, tuwaruhusu vinara kuondoka kwa